Board members, if we can get you to take your seats, we'll get started. Hey, Emily, will you see if we have any out? I think we're short, maybe one. I think we're good. I think we're good. Well, we want to welcome everyone to our board meeting. We've started earlier this morning, just coming out of a break after our executive session. So welcome. We have new board members here diving right in. Appreciate their contribution yesterday and this morning. We still have quite a bit of work to do today. So want to be mindful of our agenda and our time. And again, welcome everyone in the audience that's here today. We're in our opening business section. We've asked board member Janet Cannon to lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance.
Would the audience please rise, join me in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you, Board Member Cannon. We have a board member message will be from Board Member Michelle Bolter.
Thank you, Chair. So I just wanted to welcome all of the new board members, and I'm extremely excited for this new year and to be able to work with everyone. And with the start of a new year, I would just like to offer a prayer for my message. Our dear kind Father in heaven, we gather together as stewards of thy children over public education, and we ask thee to watch over us as we discuss the affairs of public education for the state of Utah, and as we discuss the needs of thy children, that we'll be able to have the discernment necessary to make the good choices, and that we'll be able to do our best. We ask thee, Father, to watch over this great state and this nation. And we ask thee to watch over the families of the state of Utah. And we're thankful that we are able to serve in this capacity. And we say these things in the name of thy Son, Jesus Christ. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Board Member Bolter. Next, we'll turn the time over to Superintendent Dixon for Employee of the Month.
I'm so excited to introduce to you our Employee of the Month, Erica Horsley. Erica, how many years? 10 years, right?
10 years, yeah.
So Erica has served in teaching and learning for 10 years, and the bulk of that she's been in licensing. And I had the privilege of being a close colleague with Erica when I lived over in that section of the building. And not only have things not changed in terms of her wonderful help and personality, but she's been very infectious. And she greets everybody with this bright, perky hello and says goodbye at the end of the day and just sets the tone. But she's so incredibly helpful with all of the patrons. And you can imagine the patrons that come through licensing, people who are wanting to renew their license or wanting to become a teacher. And Erica just sets this tone of great helpfulness and kindness and is so knowledgeable. And she's very bashful and humble, and we're, in spite of her perkiness. So we're really excited to honor her as Employee of the Month. And for the new board members, we do this with an employee each month. They get 8 hours of administrative leave, a coveted parking passed that not even you can trump.
Actually, someone did trump, so
Uh-oh.
I didn't get my.
So when you
copy.
see that Employee of the Month, that is for Erica this month. So anyway, we just are so excited to honor you, Erica, and congratulate you on being Employee of the Month.
Well, I appreciate it. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
And then,
You've got some other business too, don't you?
oh, Erica, they would like you to go around and shake hands,
Oh, okay.
starting with Board Member Cummins. Yeah, an infectious of a different kind. I didn't ask your permission because I knew you'd say no.
Everybody did.
You did. Okay, I'm also going to take point of privilege. This is a little bit unusual, but on Monday, we're losing a little piece of history in this office. Leslie Snelson is retiring, and she has raised She has raised a few superintendents and colleagues, and so when we lose somebody like Leslie, we're so happy for her to move on to do different things. But we also, it's sort of like a vacuum suck when we lose this much history. And Leslie is just so helpful. I know she's helpful to all of you. She's very conscientious and caring about her colleagues, about the people that she works for and with, and I can ask her anything, and she has history or knowledge about who to go to and who's responsible. I'll get a random email about some grant, and she remembers 10 years ago when the grant went to a certain person. I mean, that's the kind of knowledge and professionalism that we have in Leslie. So we're really happy for her to spend time with Scott and her family, her grandkids, and her ailing mother, and do all those things that she's worked so hard to be able to do. But I'm in denial, I'll just say that, and we're really going to miss her. So I wanted to acknowledge her publicly and before this body because I know that she's meant a lot to all of you. So Leslie, thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to get her back for this.
Thank you, Superintendent. Next, we'll have Karen. You're going to introduce Karen Heaton with HR, introduction to our new employees.
Good morning. Following me will be our most recent new employees and some that have been here for a little while and making their first appearance before the board.
My name is William Hall. I'm an office specialist too. I work up in the counseling, equity, and it's the other way around, I'm sorry, and prevention, I'm sorry. My previous jobs were, I had worked for 3 companies all at the same time. The Ancient and Accepted Scottish Rite of Utah, the Most Worshipful Grand Lodge of Free and Accepted Masons of Utah, and the Masonic Foundation of Utah, of which I was the office manager, and I also was the assistant grant secretary. Thank you.
Good morning. I'm Tracy Peterson. I work in the fiscal operations. I'm a grant manager and was hired to help with the implementation of the grant management system. And I came from the Department of Health, where I worked as a financial analyst 3.
Hi, my name is Sylvia, and I work for Counseling and Equity and Prevention, and I came from the Department of Human Services. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Mike Collier. I'm a purchasing agent working into procurement under Zach And I previously to this, I worked for a lithium battery company, Lithium Storage, and this is my second day on the job.
My name is Jamie Robinson, and I come to USDB or USBE. I have 19 years of teaching experience. 8 of that was with Weber School District, and then 11 has been with USD in Ogden. So I apologize. USDB, USBE are very similar. So I am now teaching, I'm in teaching and learning, and I am the kindergarten through preschools, or I'm the preschool through second grade specialist. So.
Good morning. I'm Matt Ferris. I'm the Senior IT Operations Manager downstairs. I was with the Air Force, either serving or as civil service for 28 years. Decided to change it up, and here I am. Thank you.
That's awesome.
Well, thank you for joining our team. Thank you. Next, we would like to invite Kathy Jensen, our educational specialist, to help us interpret our art.
Good morning. Thank you, Chair Huntsman, and good morning, board members. Each month when I go to my colleagues across the state and ask for them to submit art, I rely on them to make the choices. I don't do any curating. And when I heard from Alpine School District that we were going to get some elementary artwork about disease, I thought, okay. And then the art came, and I looked at it, and as Chair Huntsman said, I tried to interpret it, and I thought, Then I got the description from Jen Terry, who is one of our BTS coaches in Alpine School District. And the art took life for me. The art is created by students at Thunder Ridge Elementary School in Saratoga Springs. The specialist is Poyette Lang, and all grades worked on a collaborative piece. The school was working on one of the 6 C's of collaboration. And the children talked about others in their school who might be suffering from disease. They looked at a program in New York City called Portraits of Hope. And Portraits of Hope uses bright colors and geometric shapes to give hope to those who are struggling with disease. The visual art teacher talked about shape, design, and color, and the children were able to pick a disease and through their one-of-a-kind painting, show how they would make a portrait of hope. They've submitted some of the designs to hospitals in Utah County and have decorated a cart for their custodian. So it changed for me, and maybe it did for you as you saw those names of the diseases on the paper, and now we look at it with bright colors and the designs of hope and how we all can help others have hope. In the back of the room, you will see a repeat of Utah landscapes that came out of schools in Iron County. Then I just wanted to call your attention to the high school art hanging in the hall, mostly to tell you that we have an opportunity on January 29th, the Board of Education has been invited to attend the Springville Museum of Art High School Art Show and make our purchases for this year. So at 11 o'clock. So we'll look forward to following your direction on that and picking some pieces from this year's show to add to our collection. Thank you.
Okay, question? Board Member Cannon.
Kathy, I just wondered, was there any involvement with the children looking through microscopes to identify any of these, or how did they get their inspiration for what these looked like?
I can't tell you that they did. That was my first thought, that maybe they were looking at the cells of the disease, and then when I read about the hope, I believe they were just looking at bright colors and geometric shapes.
Okay, thank you very much. I appreciate that explanation. They're beautiful pieces. Okay, next, we're going to turn the time over to Board Member Elisa Ellis to introduce our education highlights.
Thank you. I am excited. We have another, it's just been a couple months since we had Wasatch School District up, and they're back. And they have a program called the Wasatch CAPS program, which I can't adequately describe, so I'm going to let them do that. But it is a tremendous program, and after you hear their presentation, I would encourage all of you to take a trek up to Heber and take a tour of it, because it is really phenomenal, and you need to see it and witness and experience it for yourself. So I'm going to turn the time over to Weston Broadbent, and he'll introduce the students. Thanks for coming today.
Thank you, Board Member Elisa. We are so excited to be here. Before we get going on Wasatch CAPS, though, I clicked on the YouTube link to, I guess we live stream this whole meeting, and I saw some of you getting sworn in by the Lieutenant Governor, and he said at the end, I only watched it for maybe 3 minutes, but the part I watched, he said, hey, thank you so much for being vulnerable and for your public service, because we're all kind of in the firing line because of our public nature. And I really think that there's some truth in that. So thank you for being so willing to serve and make our state a better state. So Wasatch CAPS stands for the Center for Advanced Professional Studies. And what it is, it's kind of an innovative high school program where juniors and seniors work in groups of 2 or 3 students with real-life professionals on real-life projects in a hope to obtain real-life skills. And these skills, I know that Superintendent Dixon does not like this term. Some people call them soft skills. Some people call them essential skills. Some people call them 21st century skills. We call them, in our organization, we call them the professional skills. And so we're just trying to embed these skills through the process of working on these real life projects. And so we've brought a couple of student groups up here to help explain what projects they've actually worked on. But it's important to also note that it's the support of our community that makes this a possibility. It's the support of our industry partners, all of our professionals. And we have mentors like Dr. Stevens, who came up here today. He's retired. But he also has just been so supportive in making it possible, that adding that expertise as they go out into the real world, whether they go into college or post-secondary ed or whatever. So with that being said, we're going to let our 2 groups go and talk about it. We have 5 different courses that we work with: business, engineering, agriculture, digital design, and health. We've brought two groups of 2 of those down. And so we have an engineering group that will present first, and then a business group that will present second. And then we've also brought one of our industry partners who's going to just take a minute and talk about some of the advantages of working with students through this process. So, and then we'll open it up for whatever questions you guys have. So with that being said, we'll turn the time over to our engineering group.
Good morning. My name is Blake Skovgaard. My partner here to my left is Noah Taylor. My partner here to the right is Harper Brown. We worked with a company called Verticrete through the CAPS program. They are a precast concrete company. They do fencing, walls. They also have a product called Vertiblock, which makes retaining walls. They asked us to redesign the face of their block for today's society. With today's society, things change, styles change, so they asked us to give them something more geometric, fresh, just a new design, so they can sell it worldwide. We brought little concrete examples of the designs we made, of about a dozen. The one on the left, they have taken actually a full mold. These are scale models. They've actually done a 2x4 block, which they actually use in the real blocks. This one they're still working on to get it full scale. There's our real world problems we run into, just like in real businesses. Yes, you can. In 2 weeks, we are going to a trade show in Vegas with Verticrete to actually see how our designs work in the real world, along with the other 10 we designed. Through the CAPS program and through Verticrete, we've been able to understand business decisions. We've met with them. They helped us decide which 2 designs we think can actually go to market. They've also helped us solve solutions that happen in the business world. Basically, with them, we've just seen how a business actually operates and everything that happens through it. The CAPS program is one of the best programs I think a school can have, personally, in my opinion. And then for me personally, CAPS has given me the opportunity to see what I actually want to pursue, which is engineering. It's given me that chance to see at what engineering is in the business and why I want to pursue it and if I want to. These guys have their opinions as well.
Yes, so CAPS has helped me gain life skills, especially in communicating and being able to present to clients. And I think being able to do something like this early in high school is just a great opportunity and an experience. And not only do we say and think that these are like real world projects, but 2 days ago, we had our final presentation with our clients, and they told us with straight faces, hey, this is not just busy work, this is real world, real life business. And so that just opened my eye and my perspective to what CAPS is all about and what's ahead for the future. So.
As Harper said, CAPS has helped me gain just a further understanding of what the actual workforce is like, and rather than just being in the classroom, you get to learn more of the soft skills with the business partners, the communication, the actually being in a meeting, the presenting, not only do you gain those, but you also gain the hard skills through the technology that we've been given and everything else that we've been supported through this program.
And then as Broadbent said, if you guys have any questions, we'll let these guys present and then we'll just answer them all together.
So hi everybody. As he said, we're in the business CAPS. My name's Emma Anderson and this is my partner Sydney Hyatt. So for the last couple months, we've had the privilege of working with Nate Sargent and his team on a couple different projects, but our most recent undertaking has been building a women's shelter in Heber City, Utah. So we have started from scratch, which has been really, really hard. We've had to learn about all different types of funding, medical teams and treatments, flooring, everything. The list just goes on and on. So this project really started from Nate's passion to help others, and it's quickly become me and hers as well. And a misconception that we've come across so far is that people don't really think that mental, physical, and sexual abuse happen that often, when in reality it happens all the time. 1 in 4 women live in a relationship where their spouse abuses them. Over 7 million children live in a family where there's partner abuse or children abuse, and 500 women are sexually abused or raped every single day. And as a personal victim of this, I know that we need a shelter in every single city. So our goal is to provide a safe place for women and children and teens to come to get the help that they need and to stay from the outside world, because sometimes they don't really have anywhere else to go. So our next step in the women's shelter is securing funding and land to build on, and also making connections with medical teams and security teams. So what we're doing currently is on Monday, we're actually meeting with a woman, the director of a women's shelter in Provo, to learn what she has done and what she would have done. So hopefully that will take us into our next steps. And I speak for both of us when I say that this has honestly been probably one of the most rewarding experiences we've had so far, and we really owe that all to CAPS. I for sure thought I was going into business until I started CAPS, and then I got my project, which was this one, and I realized that marketing is probably not for me. I'm more passionate about women's rights and children's rights, so that's why I'll be majoring in law and being a women's rights attorney. So I really hope every student will eventually have the opportunity to be a part of CAPS, because it's really not just about learning things in the field that you think you might want to go into. You learn so much about yourself as well, and we're just so grateful for the opportunity to have been in CAPS. So thank you.
Good morning. My name is Tristan Erickson. I'm representing Miro Industries this morning in behalf of our CEO, Nate Sargent, who couldn't make it this morning. These students we call young professionals are bright, they're brilliant, they're intelligent, and the CAPS program leverages their professionalism and helps each of these students transform from being perhaps not as confident at what they want to do to being very confident and being able to present like they have this morning. It's fascinating to see the results and transformation that takes place over a term. You've heard terms this morning like a real life experience or a real project. CAPS provides these students with these experiences that allows them to build this resume with, one student said, a real resume, not a fake resume or a half-baked resume, but something that is concrete and able to build these students. As business owners, we rely heavily on these students. We ask them to take on projects that are, as you can tell, real life projects that have meaning, that have value, that they can then bring back to that business and be able to provide value. We give them timelines. We give them key business requirements that are important to our business. We rely on the success of these projects, not wholly upon these students, but heavily on much of what we do provides the success from what comes from them. The virtue of CAPS is found in the transformation of the student. We get students that come in at the beginning of CAPS that perhaps have one direction that they want to go. They might be shy or timid. We put them in front of C-level executives to present on a regular basis, to come back with key performance metrics or changes in design if it's concrete or results in a woman's shelter. That transformation from the beginning of a term to the end of the term is exponential. I don't know that we can place value upon it. When these students leave high school, they don't go into the workforce for the first time and then give a presentation before a board of directors or an executive level team. They've done that many times before, and so they're cutting edge. They're ahead of the pack. They're set apart in terms of their experience in the workforce and what they do. We let them fail at what they do. We let them fail at their approaches and then mentor them and coach them and give them feedback and let them reassess of where their failure was at. And if you've been in any pursuit in life, you know failure is part of that learning experience. They engage with other professionals, with vendors, manufacturers, suppliers. They make phone calls to competitors to find out industry analysis and do financial calculations. And this is intended to build that young professional and build their strengths and assets to be able to help them further their career. As a business professional, we receive value from their efforts and the things that they do. Let me just share in conclusion one experience that we've had at Miro Industries in the last couple years. An engineering team was tasked with the development of a product of a pedestal. Miro Industries builds support anchors for rooftops with their sister company called Rooftop Anchor. And so one of the rooftop support structures that they wanted to build was a pedestal that would hold architectural and engineering designed tiles to build false floors. And there's a market in the industry, and so their task was to see if we could manufacture and build a plastic injected molded pedestal and be competitive at it. And if they could develop that product and design it in a fashion that would have a competitive advantage. That product today, at the end of this last term, is now ready to go to market. It's a real live product, similar to what you saw on this concrete blocks. It has provided value to Miro Industries. In addition, 4 students have graduated from Wasatch High School, not only with professional experience, with the ability to put things on a resume, to have a CEO sign off on a letter of reference saying these are the qualities of these students. But 4 of these students now, exiting high school, have a patent in their name. And they can go on to college with a patent on their resume and be able to demonstrate their professional abilities. In that process, you heard, oftentimes these students say, hey, I want to go in this direction, and then they try that and they go, nah, that's not for me, I want to change. And that in and of itself is extremely productive. Thank you for your time this morning, and we're super grateful for the CAPS program and what it does for our local community. Thank you.
Questions from board members? You guys are invited to all kind of land around that a little bit. Board member Ellis?
I just wanted to, not specific about these projects, which, by the way, congratulations there. It's pretty impressive to see the things that you've done and the discovery that you've had about your own self and what you want to do is really invaluable. No one can put a price on that. But I just wanted to see if you could talk a little bit about all the different industries that are represented. The superintendent just had a picture of your, I can't even think of what these are called right now, but.
Who would that be?
But then you have the board, and that's in the medical industry, but I saw agriculture, I mean, all the different fields that are covered. If you could just give a brief overview of that.
So the technical terms that we use, we have 5 industries that we cover, but it's actually broader than that because like business is business, marketing, and entrepreneurship. And then engineering is engineering and industrial design. Health is health and medicine. And so we do some of that picture right there where Dr. Stevens is with board member Elisa Ellis.
Would you have him stand?
Yeah, Dr. Stevens, come on up.
He doesn't want to stand.
Have him come up.
And maybe we can help him explain what's going on in this picture.
I was walking around the brain.
Yeah, this is one of the amazing new tools that we have for teaching anatomy and physiology, the virtual reality and now augmented reality. And we're fortunate enough to have some excellent foresight by our superintendent and our board in the Heber Valley to provide these tools for us to be able to teach the students. I think you've already heard this morning. I don't want to take too much time, but to me, the key part of this whole experience, particularly in the health part, is that to learn how to be team players. Medicine is now a team sport, as I call it, and it's very important to learn what you've learned this morning, how to communicate and how to work with others. So we have the cool tools to be able to do this. We had a wonderful time when they made your tour, but I think the key point to take away today is that this teaches not only the educational component of it, but clearly helping to develop our students into working in the real world and many different aspects of it.
Did you have anything else you wanted to add?
Well, I think we did finish.
Yeah, I didn't quite finish all the strands. So, and then there's 2 more that we didn't talk about, which is environment and agriculture. And that could range from figuring out how to reduce recycling or include recycling into our community to flying drones for the DNR. In fact, the overpass at the top of Parley's, our students just got awarded to be the ones who help monitor the animals who go through that pass at the top of Parley's. So anyway, and then the last one is digital design and software development. And they'll do anything from creating websites to graphic design and help create a logo to make a video for a company or a local real estate agent or something. So,
we have several board member questions or comments. So we'll go to board member Belknap.
Thanks. I have a comment and then a question, Chair.
Okay.
First of all, I'm not only impressed with how you look today and your projects, but the fact that when you stand, you look at people and you speak, which is becoming a lost art for especially in young people and maybe some adults. But practicality, I'd like to ask a question. For school credit, how does this work? How often are they out of school? Is this a section? Where does it fall?
So and maybe I can step back and do even a bigger picture. This is actually CAPS, the Center for Advanced Professional Studies, is a national network of I think it's 112 school districts are part of it. It's hubbed out of Kansas City area, and every one of them looks a little bit different. So our version of it is this way. So our version of it is we take 2 periods every other day because we're on the block schedule, and it counts for high school credit.
And what credit?
And it's a CTE credit.
CTE.
Mm-hmm.
So do they get a pathway?
So it is typically the capstone of that pathway, if that makes sense.
Yes.
So.
Thank you.
Okay. Board Member Scott Hansen.
And just a quick comment and a question. First, thanks to the folks from industry. Really appreciate you taking the time and effort to get involved with these kids and help them. It's invaluable experience, and really appreciate you doing that. So thank you. And then to the concrete block team. I worked for a number of years as an engineer, and one of the first things I found out was just because you can draw something that looks cool doesn't mean you can build it and it's going to work. Did you guys have any experiences like that? And if so, how did you get through them?
A big one. So as the model we passed around, we showed you, we did have to make a mold for this to come out. Our very first attempt, the block actually didn't come out. So we actually had to destroy that mold, try to get the block out. So it just didn't work. It was bad. And then we redesigned the mold to where it was actually kind of like a puzzle piece. So we removed this side here, this side here. We had a piece here. We just took it apart one by one in order for it to actually come out as the results you see today. So there is problems that we have run into and still are trying to make the full-size blocks.
That's great. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Superintendent Dixon.
Yeah, I was going to add to that.
Oh,
sorry.
Hey,
Go ahead.
add to
And
it.
after we got that block done, our employer highly enjoyed the design, and we brought the design to them, and they realized that their machinery would not create that block as a full size, so they actually had to alter our design with us to a different angle to actually create the full-size block. So we had constant issues pretty much up until the block was created.
Board Member Scott Hansen, did you have a follow-up? Or?
Oh, I just wanted to say it sounds like you guys have really experienced the real life of an engineer. So great experience and great job. Thanks.
Okay. Superintendent Dixon.
I just want to reiterate what Board Member Ellis said, and that is to invite you to visit the CAPS program. It's one thing to hear these amazing young people and all the adults who support them, but to be there in the space and witness it is just truly amazing. Board Member Lyra and I also had the opportunity to visit Park City CAPS and to watch industry sitting down with students in actual design and execution, and the students really running it and owning it, and the adults acting as facilitators and asking the questions is just extraordinary. And to know that in Wasatch District we have a virtual cadaver, one of 3, Dr. Stevens, is that correct, in the state? Did I get that right?
We were 1 of 3, we're now 2 out of 4. So we have one with the CAPS program, we have one at the high school.
Oh, wow,
so we take
okay.
what we learn at the CAPS program, and the students now teach the health and physiology class, help to teach that class at the main high school.
I would have done much better in anatomy had I had Hal, was that his name? Cadaver Hal, to help instruct me. So thank you so much. I would really encourage it, and staff's happy to go with you.
Board Member Ellis.
So we like to talk about funding and finance up here at the State Office of Ed, and I just think there's great things that can happen when we look to business partners and see the things that they're willing and capable of doing for students, out of their own willingness, because they're getting a benefit, but they also are doing it. So I'm just, maybe I'm remembering wrong, but when we're talking about like this trip to Vegas or other expenses that happen with the student projects, where are the businesses paying for that as part of their costs, or is the school district paying for that? Where's that funding?
So, in answer to your question, like the teacher salaries and my salaries paid by the Wasatch County School District, but the projects, like with these guys going down to Las Vegas, and last year we had another group, Myro actually took a group of students to Chicago's trade show, and it is paid for by our industry partners, 100%. So they believe in it, and and you'll find this as this type of education goes more broadly, I guess. But the more the industry partners believe in it, we have found that this is their way to give back, and industry partners seem to love the concept and their chance to give back to education and students. So.
And we do that because we get so much value from it. It's not just a project that we're giving students or trying to make up some idea. These blocks are going to get manufactured and then sold, and it provides value to that entity, and that's why we're willing to do that. With the Women's Shelter, you'll see there's a lot of collaboration with some entrepreneurs and investors. These two young professionals are out looking for land, trying to find a piece of land, negotiate the pricing in the land, and then working with investors to invest over $1 million in this project. And so it's fascinating and thrilling to see these young professionals negotiate some of those terms and work in that.
I might just quickly add, Elisa, on top of that. One other thing is depending on the project, it might come down to some school funding, or like we have, some ideas that our students are working on, and anyway, so and sometimes that comes down to grant funding, or comes back to, we'll talk to the school district or some of that stuff too.
Thank you. I just thought that was incredible that industry partners are willing and able to do that, and so I just wanted to make sure that was highlighted. Yeah. But I also just wanted to say I finally have a kid that has their sights on joining the CAPS program. So look out for a couple years from now. My daughter just told me that's on her radar.
Well, thank you for being here. And just I appreciate you recognizing your board, your superintendent, the others that are involved in making this happen. And a lot of times I get asked, how does education happen in this state where we have funding challenges? And these are people in other states. As I'm out working my regular job, and it's because of our culture. We have this culture of business, community, and this education community makes it happen, along with, of course, funding and teachers and really great people. So thank you for bringing that out in part of our day-to-day, and hopefully it's very contagious moving forward, and I hope you guys have a lot of success. So thank you for being here. Appreciate it. Is there anyone that should be recognized that's in your group that didn't? The superintendent? I thought I saw the superintendent, or did he leave for meetings?
We have our district superintendent, Paul Sweat, is here, and then so is our director of CTE and
Could you
student
get him
services.
to stand up so we can recognize him, call him out?
And Jason Watt is our director of CTE and my boss, and he is actually kind of the founder of part of the brainchild of getting this implemented too.
Okay. Well, thank you. We appreciate it. Well, you guys going to hang around today, or are you headed home?
We would love to hang around, but we might get back up to class.
There you go. Thank you.
Okay.
How many?
Jack.
Okay.